Well, there has been plenty of debate about the size of models at Australian Fashion Week. Cassie Vanden Dungen has been singled out, with many reporting that she is just too skinny.
So Cassie's agent has denied the young model has an eating disorder. Cassie herself took to Instagram, posting photos of food with the hashtags I am who I am, love food and deal with it. And the debate only got louder after this moment on the Today Show yesterday.
Carla, Alex, what are you doing? You are industry legends, and yet you are allowing this to happen, to be the industry gold standard. It is not good enough.
Suze Mostyn yesterday. Alex is here with us now. Alex, good morning to you.
Good morning.
How do you answer that?
Look, it's true. I mean, serious lapse of judgment in, from my part, that I actually let that happen. You know, I looked at that footage and I recoil from it, and the images it's not the image that I think is a good one to put forward. It's certainly not what I've presented my brand about. For that, keep playing it, so I can just cringe a little bit more.
But how does something like that fall through the cracks?
Like it.
How does it fall through the cracks?
For me, it was, I mean, I'm not excusing it at all, because I don't think it's right. I don't think those images are right. But 14-hour days, you're trying to get everything finished in time. I got distracted. Chatting to Cassie, I've known her for a long time, and it was, and it's just that, and I should have made that call. I should have been more aware of what that was, because it's not, we opened with Alessandra, who is the right brand message, and it's a good image for girls to see and for women to see, because it's, I think it's aspirational and it's beautiful, and it's just, I was off the ball.
We should just reiterate, Cassie has said that she does not have an eating disorder, but Cassie is not alone in her size. And what I've seen, I've been to your show, and yesterday I went to another show. But just talking, as I was yesterday, to a number of fashion editors of high fashion magazines, both past and present, a couple of fashion editors and magazine editors, they told me stories yesterday that absolutely horrified me. One in particular, and they all agreed that they knew this story, of girls who have eating disorders, who are in hospital being treated on drips, and the next day they're turning up doing campaigns and shows.
Look, I haven't heard that, but I've actually, in the past 3-4 years of my memory, when we've cast Fashion Week, there are girls that have come in and I just look at them and I think there's something not right there. Send them off, and I've called the agents and you've got to check that girl. I don't know if they have or they have not, but I just physically and visually, it's not, it's not correct. And I think that everybody, I mean, I'm putting my hand up and saying, you know what, that was wrong. It was the wrong image to present. But I think there are a lot of people who are complicit in that. And then everybody always shocked about what that is. But from media to magazines to designers to everybody, we've all got a hand in that.
That's a good point. I've got a mate of mine who runs these fashion parades overseas in New York. He sent me a message yesterday. He said, from the agent who tells the model that she's too fat and needs to lose some kilos if she wants to be a successful high fashion career, to the stylist or designer making sample sizes that would barely fit a 14-year-old, to the fashion magazine editors shooting and promoting only booking these skinny models, it's a vicious circle. He says Naomi Campbell, Cindy Crawford, Christy Turlington, Linda Evangelista, in their prime would be considered obese by today's standard.
I think I dressed Linda Evangelista when she was here, and I remember she was a size 8. It's not the number either. People go, what size are you? It's the way that you visually represent. Like Alessandra Ambrosio was not that much bigger measurement-wise than what Cassie is, but what she looks like, her physicality, athleticism, it doesn't register. I mean, you see her there on the monitor now. It's like the measurements are kind of irrelevant. It's what you look like in the image that you put out there.
And the image that you're selecting to put out there as well.
Correct.
He goes on to say, this is a really good point. It needs to change. We shouldn't blame or single out a particular model like Cassie and like we're doing at the moment. It's a dangerous thing singling out individuals and girls out. It messes with their head, and they are already deeply concerned with their image and their look. This is their business.
Correct.
Right.
And you can't judge. I mean, I think you look really healthy.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you are, but you might not be. So I can't make that call, and it's the same in that way, and it's sort of putting a spotlight on that girl. I'll cop that, because I shouldn't have promoted that image. You know, I put it out there, and when I saw it, you know, a couple of hours after the show, I knew immediately that it was wrong.
So is she getting the right help? Is she okay with all of this? You know?
I don't know.
Well,
I don't know.
she and her agent are both saying that she doesn't have an eating disorder. We're talking about a much bigger issue here. We're talking about, this is the 19th Fashion Week.
Yeah.
And it's the same discussion that's had every single year. I congratulate you for putting your hand up and saying, I got it wrong. I should be promoting a healthier image. But
I've always tried to do that, though.
Where do we go from
I've always
here?
tried to do that. That's
how do we change it?
It's, you know what you need to. Everybody needs to get together. And what I said earlier, everyone is complicit in this. You can't say designers shouldn't book those models. Well, you know what? Let's say model agents shouldn't have those models. Magazines shouldn't shoot those models. Designers shouldn't use those models.
And designers
everybody,
shouldn't
we all talk
send
about
out
it.
sizes that only a 4-year-old could fit in.
But if that's what a magazine is shooting, if you're like, my sample range used to be a size 8, well, it used to be a size 10, then it became a size 8, and now the 8s are a little bit too big. So when they go to a magazine, they've got to clamp them, or they've got to, you know, so
everyone's
got to sit down. Nobody can shy away from it and say, I'm the most visible. Every time we have this conversation, every year, I get dragged into it. And this year I'm at fault. So, yes, that is that. But everybody needs to sit down and say, all right, what is the standard, and abide by that.
So there needs to be an industry body.
Yeah,
is
correct.
What needs to happen.
Correct.
So that before every fashion week, designers...
But an industry body's not going to...
It's worldwide, though.
But
like
an industry body is not going to be listened to by anyone in particular. An industry body is not going to have any meat.
Worldwide... I mean, as shocking as it sounds, the Paris samples are smaller than our ones. So these girls who want to achieve an international career and they want to go and work in Paris, they've got to fit into those samples. So it goes on there. When they come back from Paris, they're always thinner. Every girl that comes back for Australian Fashion Week, we look at it and we go, you know, wow. So it is... But in Australia, I think we need to have some kind of... I mean, Jackie Frank is so vocal. OK, great, you set that example as what you're going to do in that magazine. I'll set the example, and I'll say to you, OK, I'm going to have...
Jackie's good. Like, she's very strong. So she's the sort of woman who would do this.
They say that. Yeah. And I went to so much trouble to get Alessandra out here because she was the right kind of thing to put... And then when she stood up in the lineup, I could see the other girls looking at her. It's like, well, that's why she's like a $1 billion... angel, because she looks like that. She's got 2 children. It's the right message to send out.
And she eats a bacon and egg roll for breakfast.
And she has a bacon and egg roll for breakfast.
Indeed.
So, but I could see the girls looking at that. It's like, well, that's what you need to look like if you want to be. But the fashion industry, for a long time, and I had this conversation with Alessandra. For a long time, she was like one of those, you know, swimwear girls, and all the fashion industry, oh, you know, the swimwear, whatever. And all of a sudden, Givenchy loved her, and now she's like a real fashion darling. So that perception has to change of what we think, as an industry, is a beautiful Australian
and you know,
image.
it comes back to the simple health and the mental health of the women that you have parading. And, you know, that's... I think it's almost a form of torture at the moment, what these girls are going through. That needs to be addressed.
We have a duty of care to the young women of this country.
Look, I did wrong, and I'm going to make that right. I'm going to make sure that I do. No, I'm not doing it for that. I'm not doing it for, like, accolade. It's like, I realise the mistake, and I'm going to say, OK, that's that, and I will... You know, my mission is to have like 20 Alessandras next season, so you can say, you know what, that's what I think Aussie fashion is about.
Good on you, Alex. Thank you for coming in.
Pleasure.
Appreciate it.